All right, it is 7:30-ish on a Sunday night. That means once again we are back live in the man cave. This is Polk. We got the All-State coach. I'm Coach Barnes. What's going on with you, sir?
Happy Sunday, Coach.
Hey, good. Appreciate you. Tonight it's going to be a dynamic duo. The All-State PG is on vacation, so
Well deserved. Well deserved.
as a little unplug. Every now and then you gotta unplug, recharge, and refresh, and come back around to it. So he is doing that. Well deserved, him and his family, and so we will drive the bus, 2-man crew tonight, duo. We'll get her done. So since we don't have the All-State PG, we do not have a tumors tape. But coach, I know we've been away for a couple weeks. I'm not sure if you got a coach's corner. You may have multiple, but you got it if you do. The floor is yours.
I mean, Coach, man, I got a lot of things on my mind, but I really want to hear your opinion. Can you derail your season or catapult your season by what you do in the off season and during the summer? Yes or no?
Uh, I think you yes and no. I guess um, if what you have for the summer is not going to necessarily be what you have in the fall, then maybe not. So you could, let's say, if you got everybody you're gonna have, and you're not doing nothing during the summer. I don't know if derail, because if you got them all, you can make someone up in the fall, but I definitely think it puts you behind. But if you if your circumstances kind of dictate it, i.e., you got a bunch of football kids, which maybe you probably should be doing even more if you got football kids because you know you're not going to have them as much. Or if you're going to, you know, add to your roster after the summer. But on the surface, if we saying you got all your kids, I don't know. Derail might be. I might not say derail, but I may say you could be behind, especially with how I see how much people are playing in the summer. I think more people are playing now. So it's like anything else. If you're standing still, you're falling behind. So back, it used to be a time where the same amount of people was doing stuff that wasn't. Well, that's not necessarily the case now. So I do think you will fall behind, but I think you still may have time to save it. So I don't know if I would say derail, but I would say um, fall behind.
Okay. Um, let's talk about scheduling, Coach, and how important scheduling is. Because I think um, coaches are some coaches are missing the boat as far as scheduling goes, and they get in the season, and then now they're in a scramble trying to figure out, how can they get into the playoffs.
Um, I think although we are still far behind, I think some people are starting to get the idea of the scheduling. Um, but I do think that some people schedule with their ego, and not necessarily to put themselves in a position to be ready for the playoffs or to even get in the playoffs with how the system is now. Some people, and we've had some people since we started this would rather the 18, 19, 20 win season, 3, 4 losses as opposed to, I don't know, 15 and 12. But in those 12 losses, you played high level competition. So I think, coach, and I don't know, I think it's increased since we started this. I think more coaches are scheduling with their ego as opposed to what's best for their program as it relates to um, But then I guess you gotta, is it, because we're saying, our thought of them is you're trying to get to the series, you're trying to get you're trying to win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody don't. I don't know if in your heart and hearts, do you think that everybody starts? Let's just say November 1st is the first day. Do you think everybody goes in the gym saying we got as much of a chance at winning the state championship as anybody else because first day of practice we all the same. We haven't played no games. We 0-0, and a lot of stuff is mindset. So do you think coaches even go in the gym that way? Whether however unrealistic it might be, it's all realistic until you start playing games, right? So the first day of practice, I got just as much right as anybody in Miami or Orlando or Jacksonville or Tampa, right?
Right. But my thing is, coach, if it's November 1st that you're going into the gym with that mindset, you already, it's too late. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, the teams, let's say my Lake Wells teams, right? When I first got there, I was rebuilding from scratch. It was a total rebuild, right?
Right.
Um, what we wanted to do was I want to put my stamp on it and set my culture. So the first 2 years we was competitive. Um, I think the first year we was third in the district, lost in the district semis. The next year, I want to say we was 4 or 5 in the district, still lost in the district semis. In the third year, um, we made the playoffs. After the third year, right, we had a great summer. You know what I'm saying? And that's where the work started at in the summer. So when we went to Florida camp, when we went to these other camps, playing in men's leagues, you can see what your potential is. That's why I think it's so important that you get out of Polk County and play other people. You know what I'm saying? Just to see where you're at, because we're so accustomed to one another, coach. You know what I'm saying? We see each other all the time, so it's hard to really compare to where we're really at against people outside the county. Um, so I knew in the summer going into my fourth year that we were our goal was to get to the White House. I knew it was going to be a tall task because Dwyer had returned so much. You know what I'm saying? Then that next year it was championship or bust. Now that I'm over at Winter Haven, I can tell you during the summer, the work that we're putting in during the summer, what type of expectations we're gonna have during the season. If you're walking in November 1, trying to figure out what your expectations are, like I said, coach, you already behind. But I do think every coach, when you walk in for tryouts or whatever, your goal should be is to win the district championship. And how I'm gonna get that accomplished. What type of schedule I'm gonna have, to what player development I need to do, and how many I you should be calculating how many wins you need. You should be doing all of that because you should be looking at your region. You should be looking at past SOS, strength of schedule. Like all of that should be done before you walk in to tryouts that first day.
In the summer, first of all, what's up, Coach Schaffner? What's up, Mike? Coach Sears, Mr. Sears. Shout out to Mr. Sears, man. Making lemonade out of lemons, man. I told him you gotta pack his office up because you making numbers that you can't sit in the same seat. But
Mhm.
appreciate y'all tapping in tonight, man. And shout out to my guy. But coach, so summertime, you just said a whole lot of stuff that you advise people should be doing. What's an average amount of time a coach should be spending during the summer? Now we know during the season, it's a lot, but during the summer, what's an average, how much should they be spending at minimum to be in this conversation you're talking about?
3 days a week minimum. Three. That's a minimum of 3 days. I realistically, you talking about 4 to 5 days. and all of those are not, on the court just playing. There should be some type of strength and conditioning, some type of agilities, um, working on those things because those things are equally important. That's why I encourage, my kids to play other sports like football or run cross country and things of that nature because some of those skills cross over. You know what I'm saying? Like running track, it cross over. You know what I'm saying? So I think a minimum of 3 days a week, but I'm really talking like 4 or 5 days a week that you should be in the gym getting better from skill development, to strength, and conditioning, to also playing. Like I don't really see a lot of open runs, like we used to do back in the day. We used to have Kirkland, used to have Roosevelt, and I know it used to be gyms around the county where people can get runs in. I just don't see that anymore.
So is it because the gyms are not letting them in, or you just think they're not?
I think it's a little of both, a little of both. You know what I'm saying? Like these kids are more athletic, they're more skilled, but they just don't have the same drive and work ethic as a whole. You know what I'm saying? It's some kids you can see that got it, but as a whole, you just don't see it. But I think the coach drives that culture, parents drive that culture also, and you can put your kids in the right direction. So, but like I said, 4 or 5 days a week, but a minimum of three, coach. You got to have your kids in the gym because if you're not getting better, you're getting worse.
If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. That's a bar. What they say, bar when you rap. That's a bar.
You just
Marlon,
stay the
hey
same, coach.
man.
You can't stay the same. You don't stay the same, coach.
So do you do the same amount of time? I know June is pretty much hands off month, right?
Mm-hmm.
Football doing stuff
Supposedly,
supposedly.
supposedly.
Well, I mean, I'm saying hands off. I guess I need to say this because June is hands on month because that's summer league.
Mm-hmm.
July is usually hands off month, so I had them mixed up.
Yes, sir.
So in July, so that's June time. You're saying it should be the same time in July when it's hands off?
Um, our approach is that we're gonna open a gym for skill development. We do know that travel ball tournaments are very, very prominent in July, where they're actually playing during the week and as well as on the weekend. And we know and understand that we're not telling them to stay just to come work out. We want them to go to their travel ball tournaments and showcase their skill. But the ones that do not go or have a team, we still in the gym working. We're gonna open it and make sure that they're in the gym working. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, you don't stay the same. If they're not with us getting skill development, but they're with their travel ball team getting better, that's okay. At least they're in the gym getting better. You can't just sit down and do nothing, though.
Now, do you all keep track, or do you think people should keep track of how much time an individual player is getting during the week, be it with you, travel ball, skill development, playing games, whatever?
You should track because it shows you a level of commitment that person, you know, in order to get better. I had a conversation with my kids before the summer started, and if you go back and look at our state championship game, or if you remember from the state championship game, coach, we was 6 deep. We ended up playing seven, but that seven person only played like like a minute at the most. But we were 6 deep, and I told them that's because you earned your trust right now during this time. Your commitment in the gym, you know what I'm saying, what you're doing in the gym, the things that you do on the court, the things that you do off the court. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna go with the people that we trust in those particular situations. Even though we want all of them to be ready and contribute, you know what I'm saying? But can I trust you in these situations? If you're not showing the commitment to be there during the summer, how can I trust you, with playing time or significant playing time? You know what
So
I'm
I
saying?
I could lose playing time in June and July when the season will start to December.
Oh, coach, for me, especially when I was at Lake Wells, if I didn't see you in June, Well, don't even try to walk in that gym come October, November. Not talking about trying out for varsity. No, but that was me. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Like, unless it was a unique, special circumstance that couldn't allow you to be there. Like, I understand, like, um, custody, battles, things of that nature, where a kid might have to go play with a parent, go stay with a parent or something. You know what I'm saying? But we can communicate, with that. But not seeing you in June or July, or the conditioning leading up to that, well, your chances of making that team is zero. And if you were a talent, you'll have to make all of that up before I even consider putting you on the court or field.
What you think about what Coach Schaffner said? How he have his players walking around with a folder essential. So it's like it's class. Essentially, it's class then, right? Coach Schaffner and Coach Washington.
Yes, sir.
This
And,
is a
and,
this is a
and my
course.
thing is stats, coach. It's data. You know what I'm saying? You know how we have to have data to back up,
Yep.
everything that we're doing as educators. You know what I'm saying? Where are we trending? Are we trending up? If we're not trending up, let's figure out what that data says and figure out how we need to fix it. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta have that data in order to show where you need improvement. You know what I'm saying? So that's that's your proof. That's your backup.
I'm fairly certain that there's not a lot of people that's doing that, and I could pretty much guarantee they're not thinking it that way.
Hmm.
But it makes sense. But so if it makes sense when you say it, why do you think people are not um, doing it? Because it seems simple.
Lack of resources, lack of time, quality help, laziness. Some of those things are not important to them. But when I figured out, and it's something that I took from McGriff, is that every little detail shows up in the biggest moments. So those things that you take for granted, those things that you think are not important, they're gonna show up when they really are important. You know what I'm saying? Not, finishing a rep. You know what I'm saying? So that's gonna relate to, not getting the deflection, or not getting that 50-50 ball, or not getting the rebound because you decided not to box out. You just decided to jump up instead of doing a technique that we taught you. You know what I'm saying? It shows up in those things. Being late to class, being late to practice, what I'm saying, relates to in the game. It just shows you that you're not reliable. Like, those things show up in the biggest moments, coach.
That's a good question. Coach Cohen, shout out to Coach Cohen from Avon Park. You agree with that assessment?
How many kids on the team really lock in on basketball like most schools? Three, maybe four.
Interesting.
That's according to the program. I think um that's according to the coach, the head coach, because he sets the culture. You know what I'm saying? And the expectations. Um, and I found out early, being a young coach, if you don't hold everybody accountable, including yourself, if you let things go, you know what I'm saying, then they're gonna take, as much as they can. So you gotta hold yourself accountable, as long as your assistant coaches and your players. So if three or four people locked in, it's because the coach need to be more locked in on his better players, right? So they can hold the whole entire team accountable. And my thing is, you got to hold them accountable. You got to hold them to a different standard. You know what I'm saying? And people are afraid of that now because they're afraid to lose them, coach. You know what I'm saying? But my thing is, I'm gonna coach the people that want to be there. I'm gonna be just as tough on them as anybody else. Like, if I have two seniors that will be 4-year starters, and I'm tough on them. You know what I'm saying? And I need my freshmen that's coming in to see that, because this is what the expectation is. You know what I'm saying? It's Because when it all comes down to, I'm going to them too, because it's this is their senior year, this is their team, and it's their responsibility, and I gotta hold them to that standard, and I need everybody to see it.
Coach, I was over in Temple Terrace yesterday with CJ, his law school kind of, I guess, orientation type deal thing, right? And while I was eating lunch, it was one of the law professors. He sat at the table with us, and he was talking and you know CJ didn't really bring it up that he was, he played football, but in the conversation it kind of came up, and the guy was like, being an athlete, being a athlete and playing sports is going to help you because you've already done. You got discipline. You've been on a routine. You've had expectations. You've had to meet the call. You've had deadline. So you've had all. So this won't be foreign to you. It won't be like the first time. So I do subscribe to that. The best coaches that give you that discipline, and that stuff translate well past them playing with you, and it translate in the hall, like you said, in the hallway. It translate when you got to get a paper done, and it becomes routine where the expectation, or what Mike Tomlin say, the standard. I know he probably not the first one said it, but the standard is the standard.
It is.
It becomes that. So once you set that, then Coach Cohen, and I mean, I agree. Maybe I think for a lot of teams, maybe three, maybe four, and that's what frustrates us coaches,
Big
is
time.
when you catch a team that only three or four locked in. But every now and then you get more than that, and it kind of flows through the program when those three or four kind of are consistent. It don't always happen, but sometimes it do. And the great teams are usually the ones where it does happen, right?
But as a coach, you got to make that connection with your kids because they don't naturally make that connection. The things that you're teaching them, how that connects to life itself. You know what I'm saying? And I always try to give them life examples. Um, okay, we were talking about being late. If you late to work, guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna get fired. You know what I'm saying? You can ask my girls this. To be a great defensive team, you got to communicate well, right, Coach? We're talking. Um, everybody's on the same page. So last year, Coach, my kids wouldn't talk, so I started running them, and the analogy that I made, I was like, the divorce rate is gonna be high with these kids because y'all don't know how to communicate or don't want to communicate. You know what I'm saying? So they laugh at me, and they've gotten so much better with just talking. Like I said, but as a coach, you got to make that connection. You know what I'm saying? Like when I had my football kids and even my basketball kids, like if you allow yourself to quit now, right, in something like football or basketball or track, it's gonna become easier for you to quit in life. You know what I'm saying? So when somebody's dependent on you, your family's dependent on you to protect and provide, us as men, you know what I'm saying? The mother has the most important job in the home, coach. They're dependent on her. What if she decides to quit on them because it's too hard? What if our mother or grandmother decided to quit on us? Because we'll be in trouble. You know what I'm
Real
saying? So
big
as a
trouble.
parent or guardian, if you allow that stuff right now, it's gonna be easy for them as adults. And I think those are the things that we're facing right now. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So it's as a coach, you got to make those connections. And I tell people all the time, I'm not a basketball coach, I'm a life coach. You know what I'm saying? I teach life through basketball, and that's what everybody should be doing.
If they're doing it right.
Hmm.
Miss Olivia, good evening. Appreciate you tapping in with us. PG is on vacation, so you just got me and the coach tonight, man. So hopefully we don't disappoint you, but he is on vacay. He'll be back next time. So
Yeah, shout out to Opie. She came to Gainesville and come support LBD in
okay,
our live period last week.
Well, Coach, speaking about live period. So this question, this was sent to us, we ain't been on, but it was sent to ask. So I'm asking it. Why are colleges only offering kids because of the high school that they attend? Um, the person felt like kids are not being evaluated because of where they go to school at. So good evening, PC Gridiron. Shout out to our guy to connect for all things Polk County football. Appreciate you tapping in with us tonight, boss. So I guess the question is, if you don't go to a certain school, and I'm assuming they saying Polk County, they didn't say straight Polk County, but your answer to that question.
All right, coach. So my answer to that question is consistency. And programs, because we talked about programs all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? If you look at certain programs, you know what you're gonna get out of these programs. You know what kind of kids you're gonna get out of these programs. And I hear from college coaches all the time about other kids in the county. Well, they'll tell Johnny or they'll tell me, well, coach, if that kid played for y'all, it'll be a no-brainer. You know what I'm saying? But they question, certain attributes. They're not sure. You know what I'm saying? They know what they're gonna get out of certain programs out of this county. They know they're gonna get a disciplined kid, a kid that works hard, a kid that brings it, every day, every night when they walk on that field of court out of certain programs. And it's consistent. You know what I'm saying? So they recruit the program sometimes over individual kids. Because at the same time, I recruit this other kid that's just as talented or even more talented, right? But he's coming from a program that the coach did not hold them accountable, or the parent didn't, or he's not disciplined. So when he comes to me, oh, you know what I'm saying? This is too hard. Or I come here and I'm not disciplined enough to go to set a schedule, to go to class, to go to workouts, and to play. So now I'm ineligible in school. You know what I'm saying? Now that coach done lost a scholarship. You know what I'm saying? So these coaches are taking chances. Coach, my job on the line for this. You know what I'm saying? But I know consistent out of certain programs what type of kid I'm gonna get. You know what I'm saying? And that holds weight. Like coach, all the time, if our kids don't go D1 or D2, we have JUCO say we'll take any kid from Winter Haven. You know what I'm saying? Whether they started for us or not, like coach, we'll take that kid just because they played for you. We know what we're gonna get from them. Is that the type of product that you're presenting to these college coaches that have their job on the line? Because most high school coaches, their job is teaching. You know what I'm saying? Or they have their own business or some type of other income where it doesn't matter whether you win or lose. It's according to your admin whether they take winning seriously. But your job is teaching first or something else. When you talking about college, coach, these people jobs on the line. If they don't win, coach, they out of there. So people got to understand that people do recruit programs. So it's important. That decision is just as important where you choose to go play ball at. It's extremely important. You got to be strategic. Just like the coach got to be strategic about um lineups, checking on the kids for grades, scheduling in order to get in the playoffs. As a parent and as a kid, you need to be picking and choosing the program that's right for you. What program do I see where kids are getting scholarships? Do I fit in that program where I can play, right away? Or if not, will I develop in this program where I will have that opportunity? If not, you taking that chance, you can make your own way at one of these other schools. You can make your own way. You know what I'm saying? You can play for a travel ball team that's getting um, high exposure where you bring the coaches in. But, it's It's a decision. You taking chances right now.
So that's valid, and you can dig it. Okay. Well, to your point, the segue you just talked about coaches, jobs on the line, and we talking about recruiting. So you said you all went to Gainesville last weekend, and this past weekend was the boys. So it's live period in June, so coaches
Hmm.
can come out and watch kids. So Friday, I had the chance to go and support. It was five, no, more than five, six teams. It was six teams in Gainesville
From the county.
from the county.
Good five.
It was Bartow, Arbondale, Santa Fe, Victory. No, it was more than it was Discovery, and I get Discovery in Lakeland and Arbondale. Did I say Arbondale?
You said Arbondale.
So it's six teams. It was six: Bartow, Arbondale, Discovery, Lakeland, Santa Fe, and Victory.
Okay, six.
So there was six teams that so Friday went through and check watched basketball, supporting the county and things of that nature. Cause it was something I noticed where I noticed it after hearing Nick Van Essel talk about it. It was a little while ago. So Nick Van Essel said he thinks that players, we're seeing a lot more like players get injured. His theory with Achilles injuries. He said because the kids don't wear high tops no more. And so as I'm sitting in there watching the games, I'm looking, and coach, two things that kind of stuck out to me. And I know I'm old, I'm up in the club and all of that, right? But was the number of low top shoes because that was in my head, and the number of kids that wear mixed match shoes, like two shoes that don't match while you playing. I mean, like I said, I know I'm just old, but do you think that they don't even make high tops no more, coach? Like everybody's shoe that come out is either low top or like quarter cut. They don't make traditional high tops no more. So that's a thing of the past. With even like your girls, girls may wear high tops. I don't know, but boy shoes they don't do
My,
that.
my kids either wear mid or lows, but if you're gonna wear low, you gotta have ankle braces on or get your ankles taped. And that's one thing that they're not doing is they're not protecting themselves. Like you gotta protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I would invest in ankle braces. You know what I'm saying? They spend their money on everything else. Just invest in some ankle braces.
Look at one of the young people. Look at his response. What you gonna say to that, coach, when they come and tell you that?
Man, that's an excuse.
Man, CJ, shout out to CJ, man, tapping in tonight.
But like you said, coach, they're not really making high tops. Not for basketball anyway. So most of them are mid and lows. My thing is just invest in some ankle braces.
You think it's more about fashion, like Miss Alexander say? Thank you for
Of course
tapping
it
in,
is.
Miss Alexander.
You know what I'm saying? They worried about look good. Worried
Look
about
at,
looking good.
look
And
at
the
Coach
mismatch
Jameson. Coach
shoes.
Jameson, you part of the culture, Coach Jameson. Shout out to Coach Jameson with Discovery basketball principal. You part of the issue. I'm just playing, Coach. Go ahead.
The mismatch shoes usually they're the same shoe, they're just different colors. Most of them are.
So
When
they
I
sell them. They sell them like that.
no,
Oh,
they get two pairs of
they're
shoes.
buying two pair of shoes. So I'm spending
Yes,
double the money
yes,
to wear one. Okay.
yes. That's what they're doing, coach. Or they'll have a friend of theirs that where they
Kids love
trade.
their kids. Parents love their kids, boy. Cause if I could have got one pair, once I got one pair, I don't care what y'all wear. I don't care what accessories. You better work out whatever it is with them shoes you got, cause that's all you getting. But
But coach, that's a great point though. That might be. I would love to see stats on that on how that relate to injuries for sure. You know what I'm
he said
saying?
it. He said it, and I'm like that. That's interesting. And like I heard it, and then like I say, I'm sitting there watching it. I mean, it's 10 courts. It's just basketball everywhere. Basketballs, whistles blowing. It's college coaches in there, and I'm just like I'm looking at kids. The first thing they're gonna walk in there with is Crocs. I know Crocs have made so much money off basketball probably athletes in general, but that's definitely basketball players. Nobody comes in with shoes on. Everybody comes in with Crocs on, and then when they put the shoes on, it's low tops, and it's not a lot of ankle braces going on with them too. They're just putting them on and going.
Yeah, because
So
you got to protect yourself. If you're gonna invest in them shoes that cost $200-300, you need to invest in some $20-40 ankle braces. You know what
I,
I'm saying? You got to take care of your body.
I was just like, wow, he right. If I had to do a percentage, I would say it's probably 75% of the kids that was walking that out the time I was there had on like them low shoes not covering their ankles. Here you go, Coach Jameson. He the fun. Look at the fun police.
Yeah. Well, Coach
But
Jamison, you can't come in to that Winter Haven gym with a turn
y'all
ankle.
got to put on ankle braces like offensive linemen got to put on them knee braces.
Coach,
No matter how it look.
they won't play. You
Yeah, we
know,
is.
so
Yeah,
and again, that could be an expectation. Don't come in there. You got a bad ankle and not protecting yourself. Get your ankle brace,
that's
or
an interesting point.
just get tape and tape it up.
Interesting point, Coach. So let's just stay right there with the first live period this past Saturday. Is at the Alachua County Sports and Event Center.
Hmm.
Very nice facility in Gainesville. 10 courts. Nice. I'm so happy that Florida finally gets to participate. We've been so far behind with this for so long. They've been doing it in other states, specifically Georgia, for years. So Florida does it now. So this past weekend, y'all, and we tried to post the scores as we were getting them and just promote and celebrate the kids. But there was 6 teams that was in action. And Coach, you saw most of the scores, if not all of them. So um, your thoughts from the scores and just what you've heard from this past weekend, how you feel about our our kids.
So this was the regional one where you had teams from out of state that also participated. I know most of this you had to apply and get approved to play in this one. I'm not sure if they told a lot of teams no, but usually everybody's open to the second one, to the statewide one. Um, Again, we talked about being top heavy, and I think that proved itself in this particular live period. Um, FABC do a great job in matching up teams that are similar in strength of schedule, similar. And so that's why I think you had a lot of great games. I think you found out a lot about different teams in this. Like I said, I still think we're top heavy with Santa Fe, Victory, and Bartow. I think those are the 3 best teams in the county. At any given moment, they can beat each other. So, but then you have Lakeland, not Lakeland, Arbondale, and Discovery. And coach, they went there and they competed for majority of the time. Um, and I think they're improving and they're getting out and they're seeing where they're at. I wish we had more teams that participated to kind of see where you're at and what you need to improve on. But I think we have a chance of having 2 teams in the White House again, potentially 3. After seeing what I'm seeing in Summerlee in this past weekend in Gainesville.
So you calling that in the what is it? The 3rd week of June. You
Yes,
calling
sir.
making your bold prediction.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Coach, I just to your point, like I said, I was impressed with and it's like game atmosphere. If you haven't been, it was my first time. The officials in there with official gear on, with the pants on. The kids got on uniforms.
Mhm.
The coaches are not coaching like summer league or they're coaching like to win. Like it was real like playoff type atmosphere type matchups. Victor had a couple good matchups. Um, I saw them play the Chaminade Madonna. That was a pretty good game. Madonna Prep, and I watched them play Fort Pierce Central. And they had everybody except the second, the Eric kid, the 2028 big, but everybody else played. And it's gonna be interesting to see how Victory, how they look. They didn't look they still getting used to being out there, but coach they tough coach. But the crazy, the funny thing, the second game they had them Victory on like court 10, and they had Sagemont. I'm like people just being petty now at this point. They had Sagemont like on court 8, so they playing like right next to each other. So I'm standing right here looking at both, and I just thought that was kind of funny. You can't tell me that was on accident now.
Because you think I wasn't looking at Dr. Phillips and Okoye and some other teams while we were playing in Gainesville, coach. They do it on purpose.
On
They
purpose.
really do it on purpose. But I tell you what, and I like what you said. Coaches are coaching, right? So it's different. You take a different mindset and strategy from some league into something like that. So as a player, if you played in the live period with your coach, you should kind of know now where you stand with your role on that team. And if you like where you stand, continue to work harder in order to keep that role or increase it. If you do not like it, then you kind of know where you're at and where you fit in. And now you have another, 3 months or so in order to change it. You know what I'm saying? So now I I I kind of understand where I'm at now, where coach sees me now. I don't like this. I need to do something about it. Because you coach those games as if you're doing the season or in the playoffs.
And we're gonna, we're trying to put more content out. So we're gonna have a write up about who our, I guess, top five. I don't know if we'll do it that way, but the top five seem. We'll talk about that in a second. The top five seem to be generating some buzz. Of how who we felt, best, who had the best showings. I would put it that way. Maybe more than five, because there was more than five that had good showings. Polk County players at the live. And just for me to cheer on the top of it, first of all, just our kids playing and competing. For me, win or lose, me just seeing our kids in there competing, I'm just like, this. This is what we're supposed to be doing against, like you say, against top level. But it was good. It's good Florida teams there. It's like, the top of the top as it relates to the state of Florida. So I was happy to see as many teams that were participating. But Friday night, Santa Fe was played. They played. They played. Was it St. Andrews? I think they played St. Andrews, but they got down kind of big to them, and Toby just like snapped, just like went off, and he ended up getting them back down. They ended up losing close, but um, he scored like 17 in the second half. He was offensively. He wasn't just being a general. He was like some of his sidekick rubbed off on him. That's leaving, going to Chattanooga. Well, anyway, based off of his performance, he got another offer. So that was me that. So we left out the weekend. Not everybody. So shout out to Toby, from New College in Florida. So you go to them places in this live period, and you just hope that somebody will pull the trigger on kids. I
Yeah.
know some kids. I know they talk to a lot of. So I know that a lot of coaches talk to Coach Blick. A lot of coaches talk to Coach McGrill, Coach Fitzgerald about their guys, and so conversations, is good. Hey, who's that kid showing interest? So they got some of their kids that got some. So hopefully it'll translate
Mm-hmm.
um, into offering them have interest. But Toby did get an offer, so shout out to Toby on getting his offer in Santa Fe. They went 3-1 on the weekend. Coach Blicker, interesting. If you look at his schedule, he played all early games, and that was, to me, that was kind of different. I know that they do the Breakfast Club, so they guess they already be up. Um, but I don't know nobody that, like, if for him to have that many, to me, I'm thinking he must have requested them. But I don't know if I'm requesting multiple 8:30 a.m. games, Coach. I mean, that's
No,
just
Coach,
different to me.
sometimes it just falls like that. But yes, you can put suggestions in, and they'll try their best in order to abide by those because we had stipulations on ours. For our live period, they had a bracket play where they was competing for a championship, and they had a pool play. Um,
Okay.
and we had to do the pool play. I was like, just set our games because it was the 12th, 13th, and the 14th. But I had Leadership Academy on the 12th. There's no way we can make it there on the 12th, so we could only play on the 13th and 14th. So we just chose the pool play, give us the hardest teams that you can, and just go about it that way. And like I said, you just have to put those special accommodations in your request, and they try to abide by those. But
Yeah.
man, shout out to Coach Blicker. First of all, for taking those group of seniors to Georgia. Um, I think we got to give Coach Blicker his flowers when we can. No matter how you feel about him, I know some people that love him. I know some people that don't. But you got to respect the things that he does, not only for his players but for others and for the game of basketball. And salute to you, sir. Salute to the other coaches allowing their kids to go with you to Georgia, and y'all went out there and went 5-0. Had a great showing for those kids in Polk County, and hopefully that translate into someone having the opportunity at the next level.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach Jack. Also, Coach Jackson Fitzgerald, sister coach
Yes,
from
yes.
Santa Fe. I'm not Santa
Mhm.
Fe, from Victory that
Victor.
coached the team. One thing that was impressive about me, Coach, when I was watching, I was sharing the tweets and stuff from the Relentless Hoops people. So shout out to Relentless Hoops also. Um, is how much he was saying how much they were sharing the ball. He was saying he was talking about how they passed the ball, and everybody was hitting threes, but how they so just for them to just get on a bus or get on a van and go up there and play like that together, coach, just playing for each other. And I love the names. I don't know if that was Coach Blicker, Coach Fitzgerald, whoever, but we were just simply Polk County. I mean, Polk County, Florida, which is literally the way it should be. They wore
Mhm.
their own uniforms. You bring your own home. You bring your own. So you saw Victor out there. You saw Bartow out there. You saw Santa Fe. And at the end of the day, we all the same. So I loved everything about it. It was really dope. And then we went up there and won because it's amazing when we put all our kids on the same team. What happens? Like I say, some people say I be unrealistic about it, but I just love us as it relates to as a county. If we can ever just be more on the same page like that. So shout out to Coach Blicker for putting that together, Coach Fitzgerald, Coach McGrill, for all them guys collaborating and getting an experience. Hopefully, because they got a few more eyes on them from college coaches that'll hopefully translate into some offers as they continue to try to play after this year. So that was week one, coach. So we got week two this week. So we got 7 teams that's leaving. We got 3 that's going back to Gainesville. So Lakeland will be back in Gainesville this weekend, and 2 new teams. Davenport will be there, and um, Lake Gibson. So Lake Gibson is in the news. So let's talk about it. There has been, you know, scuttlebutt, rumors about their best player, their star player, our top 2027 kid, and one of the top, couple kids in the county, Darian Willis. So it was a lot of speculation. We don't talk about stuff, whether we hear about it or whether it's true or not, until something has happened. We just prefer to do it that way. We just prefer not to do the whole, because we knew about the speculation long time ago, the conversation long time ago. So it's multiple schools that he was rumored, he wasn't happy, that he was, working on changing the address, going different places for whatever reason. So it was about 3 schools in the county that was in the mix, and once again, we won't say them. Um, but if you didn't see, we posted over the weekend or Friday once it was confirmed. So once it's confirmed, then we'll post it. Confirmed, or a kid go put the jersey on for another team. Then at that point it's confirmed. So then we'll post it. But he will not be attending any. He's transferring from Lake Gibson, but it won't be the any Polk County school. He's transferring actually to Zephyr Hills Christian Academy, which raised a whole lot of eyebrows in Polk County, obviously, because of obvious reasons, because he's a great talent, and he's not going to be in the county. But also, immediately the concern was Zephyr Hills Christian is in the same region as, or in
No.
the same class as class,
Exactly.
not region, same class as Victory. And unless if you follow basketball, then this is significant because just not they didn't just get Darian from Lake Gibson. They got the Tony Bryant kid, the 5-star kid that was at North Tampa Christian is there now, and apparently they got a couple more pretty good kids as well, like 4 or 5-star kids. So all of a sudden, seems like Zephyr Hills Christian is a destination. So, do we conceivably already got 3 of the 4 Class A people in the state championship already in June?
I think so.
So,
I
Zephyr
see
Hills Christian
Victory.
plays North Tampa Christian, then
Yeah.
Victory, then Sagemont, and then
Yes,
whoever the fourth person is.
they'll figure that one out. But I
So,
think you already have your championship game already set, if you
so,
ask
Lake,
me.
so Lake Gibson is scheduled for Gainesville this weekend. They don't have a Darian now, so it'll be interesting to see how that translates.
Coach, it's
But
moving up.
we got 3 teams that potentially going to get. They got we'll post a schedule obviously. So we shout out to those 3 teams for going on the road and getting some work here in Gainesville, and then we got 4 um, that are
Impact,
up in
if
that'll be up
Impact
in
in that
Georgia.
other region, that's class 1A gonna be interesting because
It's a
Impact
monster
beat
tonight.
someone in Gainesville, didn't they?
Impact beat Victory
That's what I'm
preview.
saying.
They beat them
So if
by
you
4.
got
It was a high
Impact,
level playoff type game.
Coach, that's gonna be an interesting Final Four, and I'm gonna have to be in attendance for that.
You have to have a oh, you ain't got a cough. You just I ain't coming.
Yeah,
Just pull your card. Yeah, okay. Just pull your card.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's
Impact beat and see I think the people be knowing that, man, like cause how you schedule Impact with these people in your and shout out to FABC, man. It was well ran, like you say, great matchups. So it wasn't I don't think it was a dry game. Everybody got great work, which is the point. So hopefully the 3 teams that's going this week, the games where they'll get some good work again. Like I say, we'll post the schedules, obviously Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then we got 4 more teams that are going out of Florida, going up to Georgia, where it's live period, and the level of competition in Georgia is significantly higher. No disrespect to Florida, but this is like one of the top lives in the country, right? They have teams from Georgia, from Florida, from Alabama, Carolinas, like 4, 5 different states. So we got 4 teams that's hitting the road to go get some real good work. Once again, Santa Fe. Once again, Bartow. Once again, not Victory, Discovery, and Arbondale. So those 4 teams will be 4 of the 6 that was in Gainesville will be going to Georgia. There's another very nice facility, just like the one in Gainesville. They one gym, one facility, 10 different courts rather, and so it should be some good work. So 7 teams, coach. So I don't know if anybody's played more in June than Santa Fe and Bartow. But we got other teams that's playing a lot too. So shout out to Discovery, probably too, because Discovery played in both of them team camps and they've been in both live periods. So Discovery, Bartow, and Santa Fe probably got the most work. Victory getting plenty of work too, but Arbondale too. So shout out to guys getting out there, like you're saying, and they really gonna get a chance to see what they look like. Those 4 in Georgia this week. So, what's your thoughts on week 2 of the live period?
I think you get a better idea on where you're actually at when you start playing against people that don't know you as well. When you playing against each other and teams in the county, coach, we know each other. We know what each other's skill level and what each other's gonna do, so we can kind of anticipate, our matchups and whatever, and how the kids are gonna compete. But it's different when you go against someone that we don't know anything about each other. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I'm curious to see how these sets work against someone that don't know us as well. I'm curious to see how my kid's gonna compete against these other schools in different environments. And I always say that In order to prepare your team, you got to send them through the gauntlet. You got to forge them through fire. Coach, you got to put them in there. You know what I'm saying? You got to put them in the fire. You got to have them battle tested. You know what I'm saying? Because remember how them old people used to teach people how to swim? Coach, they used to just throw them in the water.
So
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So let's find out what type of team do we really have, so we can figure out what we need to do between July and November in order to improve and fix it.
So what is the goal for this weekend? Is it wins and losses, or is it just hooping?
My mindset is not wins and losses; it's improvement. You know what I'm saying? It's improvement. So I'm setting goals as a coach. Like our goals were to get 2 through 3 through 7 better. That was our goal for this summer. You know what I'm saying? As a result, wins came with that, then that's what came with it. You know what I'm saying? But we know that we got to get player 3 through 7 better in order for us to accomplish the goals that we need to. So we need to put those kids in situations where it may be uncomfortable for them or they're not used to it, just to see how they respond. So I think coaches got to go up there. They got to set goals, offensive goals, defensive goals, rebounding goals, setting, not turning the ball over. And we're coming up here to improve. If we do all those things, it should equate to wins. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not totally jumping off the bridge because we go 2-2 or we don't win. But if we don't compete, yeah, coach, is going to be bad. But we got to compete while it's time on that clock. And also, you get opportunities to play with a shot clock too, which is going to be in this year's playoffs. I was able to talk to some people from the county. The shot clocks are ordered, um, and we're hoping that they get them installed before the season starts, so we can play with them during the season. But for sure, playoff teams will have the shot clock in the county.
Wow. And they did have the shot clock at the live period.
Yeah,
And they were playing. They played quarters too. Though they played like
hmm
it was like it was very game simulation. So that was good to see. So we'll post a schedule also for the one in Georgia on Friday. So we'll post both sets of separately, but we'll post the schedules. So if you heading up to Gainesville or you're heading up to Georgia, you'll have you want to see not just your team but other teams. Um, we'll make sure you got what you need. Um, so, Coach, to this week is tomorrow is playoffs for Summer League. So we've made it to the playoff. We got the quarterfinals tomorrow, and then the semis and championship on Wednesday. So another successful summer league is coming to an end. So tomorrow night, all games will be at Florida Southern. So we'll post the schedule in the morning. But just a quick conversation about them, Coach. Have um, we have Lakeland Christian playing Mulberry at 6. Then we had on court 1, Lake Wells playing Sebring. Court 2, Woodhaven Ridge. Court 3, and then we'll have a game at 6. But the quarterfinal games, quarterfinal 1, we have Davenport. So the top 8 teams
hmm
are in the quarterfinals. Just for everybody, um, if you're heading over to Florida Southern tomorrow night. So top 8 teams. So the quarterfinal 1 will be Davenport versus Discovery at 7 on court 1. 8 o'clock, Bartow versus Osceola, quarterfinals 4. And then other side, you have Santa Fe versus Armandale, quarterfinals 2. Quarterfinals 2. They're on court 2, and then and that's at 7. And at 8 o'clock, you have Victory versus Lakeland, quarterfinals 3. And so whoever win the quarters, then also Lake Gibson plays McKeel at 7. Kathleen plays Jenkins at 8, which will be interesting for Coach Davis. Yeah. Um, and then you got Polk Christian playing Tampa Bay Tech, court 4 at 7, and Lake Region and Tenor Rock, 8 o'clock, court 4. So for the quarterfinal games, coach, we got Davenport Discovery based off of the summer.
Like
What
Discovery.
you like Discovery in that first quarterfinal?
Mm-hmm.
Bartow Osceola.
Bartow.
So in the semi, that works out. Semis, you'd have Discovery, Bartow, and then in that constellation would be Davenport, Osceola. The other quarterfinal, Santa Fe, Arbondale.
That's gonna be a good game. I think Santa Fe has the edge right now.
Okay. And Victory Lakeland.
That's gonna be a very physical, emotional game. I like the kid from Wharton that came to Lakeland, and the Swanson kids playing tough. Um, the point guard, Hen has them competing. I and my thing is, Hen is really trying to coach them up. And my thing is, if they listen to him, coach, they can be really good and dangerous. It's when they don't listen to him is when they get in trouble.
They start doing their own thing.
They start doing their own thing, and then once they finally like, hey, this is not working. Let me do what coach said. Then they just go on unbelievable runs and they compete and they high energy. They fun to watch. But I just think Victory have too much for him.
Okay. So conceivably, the final four would be Santa Fe, Victory, Discovery, Bartow.
Yeah, Bartow in the finals against the Santa Fe Victory winner, right?
Okay. Yeah, that's what you got. Santa Fe, Victory, Bartow, Discovery. So you like Bartow, and it's a toss up with Santa Fe, Victory.
It's a toss up if everybody plays and everything like that. And I think with Santa Fe getting them early, they might have a chip on their shoulder now.
It should be good. Hopefully, everybody plays. We don't have any load management, but we do understand that that's a thing now in high school basketball. So y'all make sure on Monday night, man, tomorrow night, y'all get the Florida Southern support. Y'all behave like you've been behaving. We haven't gotten any complaints. The coach wants to work with us, man. So y'all keep working with us.
Shout
Same
out
thing.
to the Southern man. Shout out to Coach McGriff. He's done an excellent job, and shout out to all the teams that are involved.
Yeah, man. Y'all make it work, man. You make it where we can continue to have free admission. Ain't got to be police and stuff because you do a great job policing yourself. So do it one more time for us tomorrow night at Florida Southern, and then do it one more time for us at Arbondale Rec and also at Arbondale High School and Lake Region High School. So shout out to Coach Robinson and Coach Shake also for opening their gyms up, man, once a week. And some league will be over with, man. So we got some great work at the end of this week, Coach. So at the end of this week, out is it's technically hands off period after this week, right? So what are you saying? What's your advice to folks after this week, from July until they go back to school?
If you have aspirations to play at the next level, you should be playing in the live period travel ball tournaments, which are mostly the closest ones are in Georgia. So if you're not going to Atlanta to play in the live period or beyond, um, I would question the travel ball programs that you're playing for. I do know AAU has some things that they call live periods, but I never really seen coaches there anymore. So I know if you have aspirations to play at the next level, you should be playing at the live period in July with your travel ball team. If you're not, which is fine, you should be in the weight room 3 to 4 times a week. You should be still working out 3 to 4 times a week. Prepare your body. Um, also, uh, recovery is just as important, and also find time as coaches and as players to um, refuel, recharge yourselves, take a break before school hits.
Okay, y'all heard it from the All-State coach. Don't just be on the couch or on the bed with them fingers playing the game and with them headphones on. Get out the house and stay active because your team will thank you. But most times, coaches set up stuff where they still doing stuff, so they don't give you that option. They just say it's optional, but we know what mandatory optional means, or optional mandatory means. So,
Hmm.
um, because at this point it's year round now, you don't get to just chill no more, right? It's basketball been stopped being basketball been year round. It ain't stopped. So,
Just
um,
chill and get your beat, coach.
just chilling and get you beat. So,
You know what
and
I'm
to
saying?
that point, July we gonna do the alumni thing, and uh, over in Bartow alumni tournament will be um last weekend in July, and coach, we got some other stuff happening in September and things of that nature. So, y'all just make sure that you are um, yeah, if you're not Coach Mr. Bell, if you decide that if it's optional for you to go, it's definitely optional um for you to play. At least that's how mostly it's been voluntary open joint expectations. That's a good way to look at it. Um so yeah, man. So before we get off, Coach, last thing, game seven just started. Oklahoma City, Indiana. After the day we will be done with live basketball.
Hmm.
I don't know what we're gonna do, man, but it went 7 games. I think a lot of people were surprised that it went 7 games. Shout out first of all to Bart Tozone, Tony Bradley. Got a chance to win a Marine tonight, so for that reason, you want to root for the Pacers. But just taking that off, coach, and just putting your coaching hat on, who you like and why.
I like OKC at home. I think they wasn't ready to play. I think they just took a back seat in that last game, but I do like Indiana playing with a sense of urgency in that particular game. I still think it's going to be a real competitive game, but I like OKC at home, especially with their other players outside of SGA, Jalen, Chet, and all of those. The other Jalen, they really got some pieces. I think at home that energy, they'll be able to win their first championship in OKC.
I think if Halliburton wasn't hurt, I think I would like Indiana, but with him being hurt, I kind of like OKC for that reason, and they home too, like you said. Um, but OKC seem to have a secret sauce, coach. So before we jump off, why if they've shown that young kids keeping them together, playing together, has you on the doorstep of a championship, why would a team that seemed to be doing the same thing in the Houston Rockets trade their whole team or at least 8 players for one player?
So they sold, coach, and I don't think they had to. Like you said, OKC I think has the formula for the future. It's building through the draft again. Golden State did the same thing, and I think that's the way to go. Because if not, you just selling yourself for like 1 or 2 years of a possible success. And I think OKC, with the formula that they have, they're going to be competing for a long time. Um, I don't like them. I don't mind them giving away Dylan Brooks. I did not like them giving away Jalen Green at all. And then,
What about all them other
yeah, them
five five people?
in 5 second round picks, I thought it was just too much.
Too
Um,
much, man. And Kevin Durant, is it? I mean, every 2 years, coach, he on the move every 3 years. I mean, what is like 18s he done been
yeah,
with? Like, does his
I,
legacy start to go away at some point?
I don't think it's hurting his legacy. I think that's cemented. Um, I think I think he just really looking for situations for him to be happy playing basketball, coach. I don't think he's been enjoying playing in the places that he went. You know what I'm saying? And I think it shows in like team chemistry and whatever. So I think he just want to play his last few years enjoying the game that he loved. So
You give up you get an older superstar, older
mhm,
star for a young star. That Jalen Green gonna go somewhere, coach. And he going and I said, well, Phoenix don't want him. They've trying to move him,
yeah.
but that's why they
I
Phoenix.
think, but I do think they're able to get maybe a couple first round picks for him. So I understand what Phoenix is trying to do. They probably trying to build through their picks.
He
But
gonna be a star way end up at, coach. I
he
see.
is.
He
He's
gonna
a
be a
star
star.
now, coach.
I want to say he gonna go
He's a
back
star now.
crazy
But
wherever he end up at.
I love Udoka as a coach. I love how he has built that team up. And coach, there was probably one player, maybe two players away anyway. But I just don't like them moving Jalen.
Jalen Green, yeah. So
But coach mentioned the tournament, man. Y'all sign up so we can start on these schedules, please.
yeah, man, we got a lot of possibles like in
Yeah,
spades. We got a lot of possibles, and
can y'all please sign up.
um,
Also, high school kids will be naming um the kids that will be invited to the high school showcase um during that time. And also again, mark your calendars, September 6th at Santa Fe Catholic High School. We'll be doing our first coaching clinic and shootout on September 6th.
once again, Santa Fe Captain. The man just keep opening the gym up, man. So how you can't you can, like you say, whether you like him or not, you gotta respect what he do for
Yeah,
kids, the county, and just for basketball in Polk County. At least I know we do. So
definitely.
um,
Poku scholarship is open. Please, please, please apply. We're just trying to give back to the youth that we serve.
all right. And also, before we got to jump off this Wednesday, if y'all got a chance, say them prayer up, tune in. It's the NBA draft, right? Tuesday. I know Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right?
Yeah,
Wednesday, Thursday. So, we praying and we expecting to see one of our own to hear his name called and walk across the stage, and y'all sharing that with Bartow / Lake Wells, um, alum Walt Clayton Jr. The NBA draft is this Wednesday. So go Walt, and we all things Walt, and then we also Tony Bradley tonight. So we're just proud of both of those young men. That they living the dream, man, living the dream and doing it at a high level. So um, that's all we got for tonight. Appreciate y'all tapping in and rocking with us. We do not take it for granted. Make sure y'all clean up behind yourself tomorrow if you're going to check out the kids at Florida Southern. Also Wednesday at the Rec at Arbondale and at Arbondale High and Lake Region. And to the teams that's on the road, man, y'all be safe this week and going to Gainesville, going up to Georgia. And appreciate all y'all doing for Polk County. Shout out to Toby again, man, for New College of Florida with his offer. And that's all we got this week, man. Till next time, Polk Hoops, we out. Y'all be safe. Appreciate y'all rocking with us.